Hello and welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. And in today's video, I'm going to be answering some of the questions that I've been getting in the comment section regarding the Bitcoin miners in terms of who these Bitcoin miners are and the exchanges where you can actually invest and trade in these Bitcoin miners. I'll also have a look at the MACD, which I actually explained on the 12-day chart, and we will be having a confirmation of the cross today. I'll also have a look at the level at which we seem to be stuck with the Bitcoin price, around the 29,000, and why that is a very critical level. And as per usual, I'll look at the 60-day cycle to look at exactly what's happening with the candlestick patterns and the Bollinger Bands, etc., etc. So if that sounds interesting, then without further ado, get yourself a cup of tea, sit yourself down, eyes on the screen, and let's get cracking. But before I begin, the usual polite reminder, please remember everything in my videos is just for educational purposes. So please do your wider research before you make any investment decisions. Okay, so some of the comments I've been getting regarding the Bitcoin miners, I just want to answer some of these questions here. So as you can see, people asking questions like, what platform do you purchase the Bitcoin miner shares on, eToro? And if you have a look at some of the other questions here, asking here, also how to invest on the mining platform, etc., etc. So I'm going to go through that. So as you can see, there are many comments from the subscribers not sure about the Bitcoin miners, who they are and where to buy them in terms of the exchanges. Here at Wisdom Bites, you may not be aware that we have a private members club which costs about $4.99, which exclusively covers these Bitcoin miners with a video every Wednesday. And in my last members video, I covered this topic to answer these questions. Here's a clip from that video. Okay, I'm going to start off with all the Bitcoin miners that are available on the NASDAQ, and there's around about 18 or 20 of them. So here they are. So this is what we're investing in on this Bitcoin miners club here. So we've got Marathon, Cypher, Riot, Mawson, Hut 8, Bitfarms, Iris Energy, CleanSpark, Stronghold, TerraWolf, Argo, Core Scientific, Bit Digital, Hive Blockchain, Greenidge, DigiHost, Sphere 3D, which has a ticker ANYNE, which is the company I'm going to look at today. And there's Bitmining, and the other one is MicroStrategy, which doesn't actually mine Bitcoin, but actually buys and holds Bitcoin and probably has the highest amount of Bitcoin held by any company. So these are all the companies that are available, and these are the ones from time to time we will be featuring in this miners club. And the question people keep asking is that how can we invest in these miners? Here is a list I've actually compiled for everybody who doesn't know where they can get hold of these miners. All of these miners may not be available on any one exchange. For instance, the three that I use in the UK are Hargreaves Lansdown, eToro, and IBKR. Now, IBKR are an American company. They're an American exchange, but IBKR is probably the one that has the most amount of miners. It probably has all of them. But Hargreaves Lansdown has about 10 or 11 of them. And whilst it's a UK company, I know it's available in the USA, so it may also be available in other countries around the world. So have a check out on the Hargreaves Lansdown. And eToro is obviously another international exchange and available in most of the countries around the world. There are some countries it's not available, but there's also the other ones that I've actually Googled for you, which is Robinhood, Trading 212, TD Ameritrade, Plus 500, Free Trade, Alpasa Trading, Next Markets, DeGiro, and AAAFX. So check these out, whether these are available in your country. And failing that, if they're not available in your country, you can always Google the brokers in your country and then contact them and see if they actually cover them. And all of these miners are available on the NASDAQ, which is the USA technology sector. So many of the brokers around the world will be covering the USA markets because it's one of the main markets around the world. And these will be on there because they're listed there. So I hope that explains many of the questions that people have been asking me. And I know one of you in the members club, Axel Kovacs, I hope Axel won't mind me sharing his comment here. He did actually share that he did go into the TerraWolf and he entered the position at 58 cents and he's already taken a little bit of the profits, as he said here, but ultimately he's going to leave most of it in for the long term, which is obviously a very good idea because all these companies that I'm covering, I'm doing that with a view of a 2 to 3 year bull market run for Bitcoin, when we expect to be very handsomely rewarded with a leverage play over that period of time. So thank you for that comment, Axel. Very much appreciated. So as you can see, the Bitcoin miners members have now started to invest in the miners companies, and the real opportunity is that the miners are a leverage play. And in case people are not aware of how the leverage play works, let me just explain that to you and why these miners should go up by 10 or maybe 15 times the price of Bitcoin over the next 2 to 3 years. And always remember, the leverage works both ways. So in 2022, we had an example where the Bitcoin miners went down in price by 99% in many cases, and many of them nearly went out of business. So in a bear market, they work very badly. But in a bull market, which we hope we're in now for the next 2 to 3 years, the leverage play should work the opposite way, whereby the Bitcoin miners should go up by maybe 10 or 15 times. Okay, so the easiest way to explain this would be that if you take the Bitcoin miners and the cost of the production of a Bitcoin to them is $10,000. And let's assume the price for Bitcoin is at $25,000. So as you can see, at a cost of $10,000, and Bitcoin being at $25,000, the Bitcoin miners are in a profit. And the reason why they were going to go out of business, or many of them were going to go out of business, was simply because the Bitcoin price being at $15,000 was still too low for some of the miners who were producing the Bitcoin at more than the $15,000 mark. So a prolonged bear market would have actually pushed most of them over the edge. However, since the Bitcoin price is now recovered and we're mostly on the up rather than the down, and if we assume that Bitcoin is now in a 2 to 3 year rally going forward, then we can have a look at exactly how it's going to impact the Bitcoin miners. So let's assume that if the price goes from 25,000 and it goes to 50,000, you can see that the price has doubled from 25 to 50,000. However, the Bitcoin miners, because they produce the Bitcoin at 10,000, they've gone up by 5 times over here. And should the price of Bitcoin, let's say, go to 100,000, once again, the price from 50,000 to 100,000, the price for Bitcoin has doubled. But for the Bitcoin miners, just from here, the Bitcoin price has gone up by another 5x. So overall, having produced the Bitcoins at $10,000, the Bitcoin miners have actually got a 10x increase over here, whereas the Bitcoin price from the 25,000 to the 100,000 has actually gone up by 4 times, and the Bitcoin miners has gone up by 10 times. So you can see that the Bitcoin miners has an exponential growth built into their process here, and the higher the Bitcoin price goes, the greater the exponential component for the Bitcoin. And how this played out in the last bull market, if we take the low point of the COVID situation here in March 2020, for Marathon Digital Holdings, they went from the bottom of that point to the top of the bull market. They went up to $84, and they increased by 235 times from the price at the bottom of the COVID situation here. Whilst the Bitcoin equivalent of that, from the same point here to the top at 69,000, they went up by 16 times. So that means that the Bitcoin miners actually went up 15 times the price of Bitcoin over the same period of time. Okay, so I hope that explains how the leverage works, which miners are available to invest, i.e. there are about 20 of them, and also some of the exchanges that I've highlighted where you can actually trade and invest these miners. And if you want to join the exclusive Bitcoin Miners Club, all you have to do is to click the join button here below any of my videos, as well as the link in the description box below. Okay, on to the Bitcoin analysis now. Last week I covered the MACD on the 12-day chart, which looked like it had a bullish cross and it needed confirmation, and the day for that confirmation is today. So at the close of play, as long as Bitcoin doesn't do anything silly and start going down towards the $25,000 mark, this cross here should be actually confirmed. And what we can expect with this cross is a big rally, hopefully to the upside. Of course, we're going to get corrections along the way. This is a bullish cross because if you look through history, we've only had these crosses 3 times over the last 12 years. So the first one we had was back here around November 2015, and you can see what effect that had. We had a big massive bull run to the upside here. The second one was around about the May 2019 when the market ran up to the 14,000, and the last one that we had was actually June 2020, which was the beginning of the bull market that took us to 64 and to 69,000. So this cross that we've got is now the fourth one in 12 years. And if the previous crosses are anything to go by, we should get a very good healthy run over the next 2 to 3 years. Many people have been asking, why is it that we've been stuck at the 29,000, i.e. below the 30,000 level for all this time? When we zoom out, we can see quite clearly exactly what the picture is. So this is where we're at currently, at around about the 29,000. And as soon as we came up to this level here, we found a very strong wall of resistance at the $30,000 mark here. And the reason for that, if you look left, a huge amount of support over here and a lot of support here, all along here. This was a very strong level. So now that we're going back up towards the upper end of this Bitcoin price range, and many people will be selling here to be able to take the profit if they've been riding it from these levels down here. And just like the $25,000 mark, which was very, very critical over here, and it was a difficult one to get through. We had, as you can see, a little bit of resistance there, a little bit of resistance there, etc. So once we got through, this was always going to be the next level. And if you've been watching my videos, I said at the time, many times in many of the videos, that once we get above the 25.2, we should have a quick run up to the $29,000 level, which is exactly what we've done here. And the next target after that, once we can get past it, would be at this level, around about the 34. So just like the 25.2 was a very critical level in terms of actually passing some of the hurdles that Bitcoin needs to get through to give people confidence that we have actually bottomed out down here, 30,000 is now proving to be the next critical level, all based on extremely strong price action over here. And you're probably wondering why I've got this red line drawn all the way through here. As you know, when we were in the bull market up here, we created this head and shoulders pattern, which actually brought the price all the way down to these levels that we've just had in 2022. So on the way up, we're now going to be encountering the actual reverse of this pattern here. So when we come up to this red line, and we need to keep this on the charts because this will be an opportunity to actually take some profits off the table. And once again, this line is actually in confluence with our narrative that I've been giving you over the last many videos. And if we do a Fibonacci retracement from the 69,000 down to the 15,400, where we hope we've bottomed out, you can see there is a confluence of this red line at the 78.6 once more. So we've seen over the last few videos that I've done that this level seems to be coming up time and time again. And once more, this neckline at the head and shoulders that we created on the way up is now going to be a big resistance point for Bitcoin on the way back up here. And that cross would be around about the end of May. Only time will tell when it'll be, but as you can see, there is confluence around the 78.6, which is at the $50,000 mark for Bitcoin. Okay, a quick look at the 60-day cycle. So far, what we've got is that we've had this big run up over here, and we've created this bull flag at a very high level of around 27 to 30,000. And we're now coming into the midpoint of this current cycle. So the current cycle started here around the 10th of March. The mid-cycle point is around the 9th of April. So that's about a couple of days to go. And then the end of the cycle should be around about the 9th of May. So into this midpoint of the cycle, what we can do and what we expect is that in a bull market, we tend to create right translated cycles, just like the one we created over here. This was the first cycle where we bottomed out at 15,400 and we made a right translated cycle. So after the halfway point, we've created a higher high from this point here. So what I would be expecting is from this point here, we should create another higher high somewhere after the midpoint that we've got here. So as you can see, we're slowly creeping into the midpoint, and hopefully we'll get a big run up to anywhere around about the $30,000 to $34,000 mark before coming down into the 60-day cycle low, which can be all the way down to 25,200. I wouldn't expect it to go any lower, but obviously with Bitcoin, everything is possible. But whatever we get to around this point here in mid-May, that would be somewhere where we would expect some sort of a bottoming out. So that can be within 5 or 10 days either side of this actual point. So as you can see, the last cycle was 70 days, not 60 days. So we just have to wait for a bottoming out, and then we can see that once that's accomplished here, so then we can look forward to the midpoint of the next cycle after this. around June and July. If you've been following me on Twitter, you'll know that I actually showed this Bollinger Bands. As you can see quite clearly, the Bollinger Bands are squeezing together, so we can expect very shortly, in the next few days, a big move to clarify whether it's going to go up or down. And this is what normally happens with the Bollinger Bands squeezing together. Also on my Twitter page, I've been mentioning this outside bar candle, this very bearish outside bar candle, which seems to be conducting all the price action for Bitcoin within this range itself here. The top of this candle is actually at around about 28,900, and the bottom of it is around 26,600. And when we got this outside bar candle, which is obviously bearish because the top and the bottom of the price action of this candle is higher than the previous candle here. And that tends to be the end of a momentum shift on a run up to the higher prices here. So what we've got, and what I was expecting, was for at least many days for the price to be contained within the top and bottom of this outside bar candle. But this is now lasting a lot longer than even I thought. But certainly we need a break at the top or the bottom to actually resolve and to invalidate this candle. I also mentioned this particular chart, that the actual increases that we've had is actually quite interesting, because from the low over here where we started this big move was exactly 48%. Then we had this little minor correction and moved up a little bit here, but then we had this proper bigger correction here. And from the bigger correction to the point where we are now is again 48%. And just for matter of interest, I put down that from where the bottom is so far, 48% increase would take us to around about 39,200. So we'll see where that goes to. But it's quite interesting how the Bitcoin has some sort of a formula that seems to be playing out here. And if you want to join me on Twitter, once again, my Twitter link is below all of my videos in the description box down here. So in conclusion, what I'm thinking here is that just like we had the run up over here, created a bull flag, we had another run up here, created another larger bull flag, and we've had now the final run up over here, the current run up, and again we've created a bull flag. So on each occasion we've actually had a run up above it. So I would expect there's one more run up left for Bitcoin before we get rejected around the $32,000 to $34,000 mark. So only time will tell, but this is what I'm really expecting over the next 5 to 7 days. Okay, so we'll leave it there. I hope you found value in the video. If you did, then please do remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the notification bell. And if you have any comments, questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. So just to remind you once again, there's no NASDAQ market today for Good Friday. So I hope you're going to enjoy your holiday. Also remember, there's the CPI data that comes out next Wednesday. So we may go sideways until then, waiting for a direction from the CPI numbers that we get on Wednesday. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.